Hello and welcome to another episode of Collab with Kiva. I am your host, Kiva Slade, and unless you've been living under a rock, which granted you might have been, July 1st is quickly approaching. And yes, I will join the beating drum. That is, July 1st marks what? The day that Google will stop collecting data on your Universal Analytics configuration on your website. It will no longer send that data there. And that means that you should have installed Google Analytics 4 on your website by now. But again, if you have been one of those living under a rock and hoping, praying, wishing, believing that Google is going to change their mind and kick this can further down the road, this podcast is for you. Today, we really want to dive into just the importance of installing Google Analytics 4 even at this late date, and also just some true basics on how we can gain valuable insights, especially as it relates to our websites and how they perform and how that influences and informs decisions in our businesses. So let's go ahead and dive in. It's so important to understand that leveraging data and analytics in particular is crucial to optimizing your online presence, and also it can show you details about your conversion rates that may or may not align with what you think happens in terms of conversion. So in today's digital world, obviously, having a strong online presence is essential for pretty much any business to thrive. Don't get me wrong, there are some outliers who don't have a web presence and they're able to. I don't necessarily believe that that is the norm, so tread carefully if that's the path that you want to choose. However, you define a strong online presence is up to you. But for most of us, at a bare minimum, that is and does include a website. With that, understanding of how your website performs and how your audience interacts with your website, if you don't have that, you are in a dark room trying to find your way around to the light switch. And that's really where Google Analytics comes in. And then being able to take the business intelligence that comes from the tool is very helpful to providing data and insights, obviously, to help inform the decisions that drive your business growth. Over the past week, I was a presenter at a marketing search summit. It's so funny. You get questions, are you SEO or PPC? And I was like, I'm neither. I am, this hybrid here who's not a marketer, more in the operations and data space, but I can speak to marketers in really helping bridge gaps, especially between marketing and operations. So it wasn't SEO or PPC. However, there I was. But even for some of the sessions that I attended, lots taking place around, obviously, SEO, around websites and their importance in determining the things that go on in a business. And a lot of companies pay very good money to rank high through organic content and things of that sort related to SEO. So with that being the case, whether you produce a blog a month or you don't, there are things that take place on your website, and the more that you know about these things, the better you can adjust things in your business to build off of what is doing well and maybe do more of that and less of what is not doing as well, and or tweak what's not doing so well so that you can increase conversions, so that you increase traffic, so that you understand that when people come to your site from a speaking engagement that you did or a podcast or social media platforms that you're on, that you have this data, you have these insights that can drive where you are putting your energy, and that energy can be in the form of time as well as in the form of money. So it's really important to have an understanding of what is taking place in your website ecosphere. I have worked with people who do not have Google Analytics installed. They have no analytics installed, and yet they'll do web redesigns, and yet they'll tweak copy. And they'll do all of these different things and spend lots of money on marketing and things of that sort, but really have no understanding of what worked, what didn't work, anything. So using Google Analytics, it's free, people. It's a free tool. And it can help you track and analyze so many aspects of your website and gain insights into traffic sources, user behavior, conversion rate, audience demographics, and so much more. So again, it's free. What other reason do we need? It's not something that's going to break your bank in terms of installing it. And even a bare minimum install, you can do yourself. Google will guide you through it. If you've already let Google auto migrate you, bless you. I would encourage you to still install it yourself, or contact me or some other amazing souls out there who do this, because their auto migrate is trash. I'll just say that and keep going. And you'll notice that you can't delete it, and it's not really optimized for what you do and or what your business does. But whole nother conversation for another time. So let's go ahead and take a trip down imaginary lane. And maybe you run a graphic design agency. You have a significant increase in traffic from your social media platforms. Why? How did this happen? Those are questions you should really want to know. Like, what led this to being? And you can dig deeper into that and really identify which channels, why were they driving the most traffic and engagement, what took place, what did you do in order to have this as a result. And this is stuff that plays into your marketing. I always ask people like what platforms they're on, and they tell me what they love, what they hate, or that they're on all of them, and which ones drive the most traffic to your website. And they don't know, and it's like Scooby-Doo moment. And it's like, no, you need to know. And because my next question is, out of those that drive the most traffic to your website, which are those that have the highest conversion? And it's again, this is a no judgment, no shame zone. But if you're going to spend money and time and energy on these platforms, then you should know which ones are driving traffic. What actions are you taking on those platforms that causes boost in your traffic and your engagement? Which of those that drives a lot of traffic actually also drives conversions? And I've shared this story before of a client who spent a lot of time on Instagram but was feeling burnt out there. However, whenever we promoted an event that she was doing, Instagram drove tons of traffic, tons. However, when we actually broke down her funnel and went behind the scenes, even though Instagram drove a lot of traffic, it didn't drive high conversions. Her email list had higher conversion rates than Instagram. So that really helped us know, like, her buyers were these long-term invested folks who were like always loving her, welcoming her in her inbox. And hey, Instagram is nice and it's the looky-loos. They're like, yay, we window shopping. We just want to see what you was putting out there. But we're not actually, taking money out of our wallet in order to attend, and if so, it's just a few of us and not the large numbers that are actually coming to her site when those things were happening. So again, this is important to know where to direct your energy. This all falls still under the umbrella of business intelligence, because it is this intelligence that's helping you be informed about where to direct your energy. Where are you going to have the best ROI, return on investment of your investment? So if she spent tons of time on LinkedIn and LinkedIn never drove traffic, one would have to wonder, Why are you on LinkedIn? Like, that's not where your people are. That's not where your audience is. That's nothing that you're posting is necessarily resonating. And so that would be a decision to make and say, hey, the social media person, we are only paying this person X amount of dollars for X pieces of content, but we don't need content any longer for LinkedIn. It's not our platform. Or we just need very sparse content for LinkedIn because of this. And obviously you can insert TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, like YouTube, whatever are the ones for you, which in most cases you will not know unless you have what? Google Analytics 4 installed or some level of an analytics platform. So moving on from that, obviously these insights would help you with also optimizing your website in terms of looking at where are things taking place on your website, what heat maps, that's a whole separate, it's not a part of Google Analytics 4, but encourage it. But when you're looking at that, like where are people drawn to, what content and what pages and things of that sort, but also things like scroll depth. That's another thing that we worked with another client on is like, are people actually scrolling? Are they reading? Because if they're going only a quarter of a way down your page before they bounce, then you need to get the goodies up at the that quarter part of the page. If they're going 3/4 of the way down, yippee, okay, they're engaged. They're actually spending time. They're looking at things, they're reading things, they're taking things in. That's far different from folks who 10%ers or the 25% people who scroll and then they're like, I'm out of here. You want to know that because that helps you determine where do you place content. If people aren't scrolling down your page and you got this amazing video right at the halfway mark and they don't go more than 25%, they're never seeing your amazing video. They're just not. However, if you've been watching scroll depth, you've been looking at it, seeing what the audience behavior is, you know to move that daggone video up. Get it to where people are going to see it. Again, all under the umbrella of business intelligence and taking that data that Google Analytics gives you and using it to make actionable insights and decisions in your business. Google has some amazing insights into audiences now and in making audiences. Maybe you have a blog on your website and you want an audience of newsletter subscribers plus blog readers who scrolled 50% of a blog. You know that those people like you. And they want to know what you're doing and what you're talking about, and their return visitors, maybe even add that in. So you can create these audiences that helps you drill down even further, because this audience that you just created of those who are like super fans, they might interact with your website far differently than someone who did a Google search and this is how they found you. And they're like, oh, this is interesting. Let me dabble here, look here, click here. Their path is different. It looks different than someone who was like, I'm on this website every single week because she's got a new blog coming out and I know it and it's on Thursday and I'm going here to go read and get this recipe and grab this to-do item, whatever it is that you do. So you can take this data from these different sources of how people interact with your website. You can use it to uncover trends. Maybe you want to conduct some A/B testing because, hey, those people who don't really know you don't spend as much time as those super fans. What is it that the super fans are seeing, getting? Obviously, there's a know, like, trust that's there. But is there something that you can do to replicate that for those that don't really know you? And you can test that. Maybe they come to a different page of your website that's hidden and you can A/B test it. So you can also obviously segment your audiences, and there's some predictive features of Google Analytics 4 as well, where they can actually, based on the data that's collected, actually give you some predictions about future website performance. So those are things to really think through, like, again, if you publish a blog and you see this spike in user engagement because you've sent out an email, hey, I got a new blog. And it's like, oh, so when I send an email to my list that there's a new blog, that increases traffic. Well, if you're only posting a blog twice a month, that might want to tell you, let's test that. What happens if we post a blog weekly now? And what does that do? How does that add to our branding? How does that add to our SEO? How does that add to our authority score? And that we are now going to maybe show up higher in even additional Google searches related to that, or Pinterest, or whatever the situation might be. You can take this information, use it to attract more of and engage more of your target audience. So, some takeaways, because I told you I was going to try my best to keep this high level, not too down in the weeds, but we can definitely go. But takeaway number 1, set up Google Analytics and ensure that you have proper tracking implementation. I cannot stress that enough. Nor can I stress the fact that if you are used to universal analytics, it is not apples to oranges. At the conference I was at, someone said it was apples to cars. They're not the same. There's things in GA4 that were not in universal analytics. So you do have a mindset shift that has to take place. There are people out there like myself and others who can tweak your GA4 or give you reports that allows you to see your UA versus GA4 and give you some level of comfortability as you transition your mindset. The bottom line is, though, that if you don't have it set up, nobody can help you. You can't even help yourself at that point. So I want you to install it, have it configured. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, the initial beginning setup. There's things that you can do that are obviously more advanced, but at this stage of the game, I just honestly want you to get it installed so that you can begin tracking something, which is better than nothing. Number 2, really use the reports that are in there. You can make custom reports, but I actually have to say that they have some decent reports to get you started that will help give you the insights you're looking for to make better informed data-driven decisions. So looking at your traffic sources, your audience behavior, if you have funnels, what do those funnels look like? What are their conversion rates? And really understanding the path that users take on your website. Other things that are bottlenecks in your website that really just jank up your customer journey, and then you can look at those and really look to optimize your website accordingly. And then the third takeaway is really to leverage this insight, leverage these tools to get even deeper insights and actually make the changes to your website. Don't just have the data and do nothing with it, because that's crazy. So since it's there for you via a free tool, utilize it and actually implement, do the things the data is telling you to do. Don't ignore it. Don't pretend like it's not telling you something because it's something that you don't want to hear. It's telling you to not be on Instagram. You're like, but I love Instagram. You can still love Instagram all day. However, your business time, your resources for your business don't need to be on Instagram. So use the tools, gain the deeper insight. Work with someone to help you visualize your trends, help you make better informed decisions. If there are things about it that you're not understanding or you don't know how to take that information and make it actionable, definitely reach out. So with that all being said, you have your 3 takeaways and you have this constant reminder to, if you haven't, please install Google Analytics 4. It can really help you do things that can be game changers in your business. As we continue to have, the internet is not going anywhere, people. and the proliferation of whether it's AI tools or anything else, your website, you've paid for it. It's your land that you own on the internet. Like, well, you borrow and you rent it from some large company. But the reality of the situation is that's your presence. You want to understand how to optimize that presence, how to increase conversion rates from that presence, how to drive business growth to increase that presence. So those are things that you want to do, and Google Analytics 4 is a means in which for you to do those things. So I again try to keep this short and sweet. Keep it high level. If you have additional questions, obviously always reach out. You know how to find me, primarily on LinkedIn. Because why? My data told me I didn't need to be on Instagram. So thank you for joining me on this episode of Collab with Kiva. I really hope you find these insights valuable and that you really do move forward on them, especially for you who are out there who have not installed Google Analytics 4. Like, honestly, if you ever watch Wipeout, the big red ball, the motivator, it's coming to bump you. Like, don't let it hit you. So implement the takeaways. Get going. Leverage the power of a free tool that's available for you and really amp up how you are using the intelligence in that to grow your business. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Collab with Kiva. I'm wildly cheering you on as you go forth and execute data and operational efficiencies in your business. If you need additional support, connect with me via my website, the516collaborative.com.